going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. Matt, you're down in LA, ready for this game tomorrow. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Zach. I'm settled into the hotel. We got some weird stuff going on with the Wi-Fi, so I'm on my phone. So I apologize ahead of time. This is an important game, though, so we gotta have our show. So let's kick it off.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, if you're watching on Twitter, head over to YouTube right now, youtube.com/49ers Hive. Join from there. We cannot see or interact with any of your comments on Twitter. Make sure you go to YouTube. We want to talk 49ers with you guys. We're not ignoring anybody. We just can't see anything. So go to YouTube, join from there. Um, about an hour ago, I get a notification on my phone from ESPN, which I believe is actually tied to an older article from yesterday. But it's from Nick Wagner saying that the 49ers are leaning towards starting Jimmy Garoppolo despite his thumb injury. How do you feel about that, Matt? It's kind of torn Niners fans all week.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what the thinking is with Kyle Shanahan. They must think that Jimmy's close to 100%. This is like a do or die game. I mean, yeah, you can get in, you can backdoor your way if you lose and the Saints also lose, but your fate is in your hands, and you're literally putting it into the injured hand of Jimmy Garoppolo. And the last full game that we saw him play was that debacle against Tennessee that kind of stuck the Niners in this win or go home scenario to begin with. If Jimmy Garoppolo plays better than he did in that game, we're not sitting here talking about this right now. Jimmy's had a couple of ugly losses that have put the 49ers in this situation. The Seattle loss comes to mind. This loss comes to mind. It's one of those things where it's not acceptable. But the thought process for Shanahan must be that he feels like Jimmy's ready to go, and you're going to let it ride out with the guy that got you there. I don't know. It remains to be seen, though, because, come tomorrow morning, if he starts taking snaps from under center, that could be something completely different. But I'm just going to warn everybody right now, if the 49ers get off to a slow start, be ready for that halftime, oh, he aggravated an option select. I fully expect that to be the case. If Jimmy comes out cold, look for Trey to start the second half.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's almost like I think Grant tweeted out, the previous games that Jimmy Garoppolo played after being injured, not getting full reps all week. And it was the Miami debacle at home last season, and then the Indianapolis game earlier this season. Both were horrid performances by Jimmy Garoppolo. The one against Miami, I distinctly remember him getting pulled, and then, the ankle wasn't actually as fully healed as we thought it was. Maybe that's what we're going to see tomorrow if he doesn't play well. I guess the thought process for playing Jimmy is, look, we were more comfortable. We had no intention on playing Trey to begin with. If we think he's even close to 100%, I think we owe it to ourselves to roll him back out there. I don't necessarily agree with it. And also, our guys for the podcast, seems like Kyle doesn't want the playoffs. I don't agree with that. I honestly do think he, for some reason, still thinks Jimmy Garoppolo gives the team the best chance to win. And I think a lot of it comes down to like mental versus physical, where Trey Lance might give you a better physical capability to win, but maybe he feels Jimmy Garoppolo has a better mental grasp of the offense and of what is expected of him going out there. Maybe that's reading a little too much into it, but
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think the argument can be made that, and Joey says it. It sucked to throw the season on the kid's shoulder with the half left. By the same token, it would suck to, let's say the Saints win and you start Trey Lance and the 49ers lose. We all know what the outcome is going to be, whether fair or not. Trey would shoulder that blame. And every Jimmy Stan out there, and maybe even some people who are on the Trey bandwagon, are going to look at that last result and say, man, Trey Lance is the reason the 49ers are in the playoffs. And that's not to mention that, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Jimmy Garoppolo that started the game against the Cardinals where they played Colt McCoy and lost. It was Jimmy Garoppolo that, dropped multiple interceptions into Seattle's hands. And it was Jimmy Garoppolo who dropped the ball against the Titans multiple times. It's Jimmy Garoppolo who leads the 49ers to one of the worst second half offenses in the NFL, where they get out to a lead and then they just sit on it because you don't ask Jimmy Garoppolo to do anything. You've run out of game plan stuff that Jimmy's good at doing, and you have to put it out there and put it on Jimmy. I think that this is one of those things where it's half like maybe you do feel Jimmy can give you the best shot to win, but also you have to protect Trey from that type of pressure and the consequences if you don't make the playoffs. And I fully believe that it's kind of a combination of both. I think that Kyle does want to make the playoffs, but not at the expense of absolutely shredding Trey's confidence going into the offseason.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Also, it's like if for some reason they lose tomorrow with Jimmy starting and playing the full game, he's like 99% likely gone next season. So it's like, okay, we can wash our hands clean of the situation, move on with the young guy, which we all intended to do anyway. And now move forward with Trey Lance with a little bit of experience going into his second year as the full starter. But it is what it is. We're just going to have to wait and see. I know 49ers fans all week I've been hearing, oh, well, Jimmy's undefeated against the Rams. They've won their last, 5 games in a row versus the Rams. None of that matters. I hate to be that guy, guys, but literally none of that matters tomorrow going into that game. And I guarantee you the Rams have heard all of it. So I just hate seeing Niners fans going into these games a little overly confident, because when it doesn't go exactly as they expected, then they start getting really upset. The biggest news, though, Matt, was getting a lot of these players back from the COVID list, all aside from Diamador Lenore. 49ers got Jimmy Ward back, K'Wan Williams, Ambry Thomas yesterday, and then we saw Emmanuel Mosley get activated off of IR. How big was that for the Niners?
It's very big, but honestly, it's something that we talked about earlier in the week, and it's something I expected. The minute that they lowered the threshold to 5 days on the COVID list, and all these names came out on Monday, was an indication that they were going to be back for the weekend. It looked like it was just, again, like a lot of the NFL seems to be some asymptomatic cases of COVID, and it's big that they get them back because unlike the 31-10 drubbing the 49ers had over the Rams earlier in the season, now Odell Beckham Jr. is somebody in play, and you can't go in with a depleted secondary and hope to go toe-to-toe with an injured Jimmy Garoppolo against the Rams. You're going to have to be able to have those cornerbacks do some work and definitely force Matthew Stafford into some mistakes. They have to do like they did last time and win the turnover battle. It's going to be imperative because they're not going to be able to go, skill player for skill player. But these guys coming back definitely helps kind of narrow that talent gap. SoFi Stadium plays really fast, so the 49ers are going to need their best athletes out there to try to defend some of these Rams receivers.
Yeah, 100%, especially with guys like Cooper Kupp, Van
Yeah,
Jefferson.
he has the possibility to hit 2,000 yards receiving tomorrow,
which is insane, but hats off to him. He's been the best receiver this season. And it's unfortunate the 49ers have to defend that twice a year. Earlier in this season, when they beat them 31-10, he wasn't as much of a factor because the Rams got so quickly down 14-0 that it seemed like everybody knew what they were going to do and they were going to have to pass their way out of it. And I don't know, it seemed like their whole mentality, their energy got killed as soon as Stafford threw that pick six to Jimmy Ward. I don't expect that happening tomorrow, unfortunately. Yeah. Fair Faithful Podcast saying Greenlaw too. He's, I believe, questionable going into tomorrow. He would be huge to get back.
I think it's one of those, George Kittle alluded to it. It's a body bag game. Yeah. Like now is not the time to be, if you're questionable, you're probably going to play because playoffs don't matter if you can't get there to begin with. So this is like a must win game. It kind of reminds me in a different sense to the, we always talk about 2019, but going into the last game of the season at Seattle, needing a win to, cinch up the number 1 seed in the playoffs. This is different just because they're trying to get there, but it's like a do or die moment. The 49ers would have gone from, I believe, the 1 to the 6 if they didn't, or 1 to 5 if they didn't win that divisional game against Seattle. This is a similar situation where the 6th seed is on the line, and you don't want to, you don't necessarily want to face the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed right off the bat. Maybe you'd like a number 3 instead. And honestly, you prevent the Rams from winning the division. So there's that dual nature of it. You want to spoil the party a little bit. So, It's going to be an important game. It's going to be a game where everybody, needs to be out there, all hands on deck. It's going to be a slugfest. And I think that 49er fans, I know somebody commented earlier that people are out there saying that expecting the 49ers to just whoop up on the Rams like they're not a good team. Listen, just because they've won 5 in a row doesn't, it's not a given that they're going to go out there and win again. So if that's the attitude that the team has, they're going to get boat raced. So I would caution the fans to temper their expectations as well.
Yeah, 100%. So let's go over the Niners injury report real quick. They're all questionable, which is, I believe, the first time this season where none of them are officially out or doubtful the day before a game. Jimmy Garoppolo, Trent Williams, Dre Greenlaw, Al-Shaair, Marcel Harris, Maurice Hurst, and Tart are all questionable going into the game. I think the only one that might not play out of those is Al-Shaair, just because it seemed like a couple of weeks ago he was likely going to be out for the rest of the season. And even, it seemed like Kyle Shanahan was even a little unsure a couple of days ago. But it is huge that nobody's doubtful, nobody's ruled out already. We're going to have to wait and see which ones end up going. But I agree with you, Matt. It's like if you can even attempt at giving it a shot, you owe it to your team this game to go and give it a shot. Faithful Podcast saying, so you all put Thomas on Kupp, or what do you think?
I put mostly on Kupp.
I'd leave Jimmy Ward on him because that's what they've done previously.
Or you could do that.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's pick your poison, because if Ambry Thomas is going to be starting, he's either going to get Cooper Kupp or Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
And it's like, what would you rather him have? To me, I think that Thomas would probably do better on Beckham because they're going to send Beckham on a lot of 9 routes, and Thomas can do the man-to-man coverage thing. I think that Kupp is the better route runner, and I think Kupp out there would cook Ambry Thomas. I think you need the experience in Mosley and Ward if you're going to bracket coverage, but I'm sure D'Amico Ryans is going to come up with something, but you have to pick your poison. And let's not forget that the Rams are going to get Cam Akers back too. So Cam Akers is expected to play tomorrow, first time since he tore his Achilles. We'll see how that goes. It's no guarantee that he's going to be super effective, but it's just one more thing on the plate that you have to worry about in terms of what the Rams' weapons are. Really, they have to hope that the pass rush gets home and you force Stafford into making those leftover Detroit-style mistakes that Stafford's prone to making.
Yeah. I was trying to look for the stat here. I couldn't find it, but I know over the first 8 weeks of the season, he had 7 or 8 interceptions. And then over the past 5 or 6, he has 8 or 9 just in those games alone. I know he's really kind of upped those interceptions over the last month and a half or so. The 49ers are hopefully going to be able to force him into one, take advantage of one, because they're definitely going to need that tomorrow to get their offense a couple of extra drives and opportunities to score some points. Joey, I thought this was interesting too. I heard, I believe it was Kyle, I forget who said it, that, the 49ers hadn't had a player list as questionable, miss a single game this season. So we'll see what that means going into tomorrow. There's a lot on that questionable list. If any of them make it, all of them make it, that'd be huge. Ian Sharp said the Rams weren't too convincing against the Ravens, and that was with Tyler Huntley under center too. So,
but we all know that the NFL is a week-to-week game, right? Yeah. And one week the team looks like trash, and the next weekend they come out and just blow the doors off of somebody. That I don't think that's indicative. And again, this is what I say all the time: division games are just too hard to predict, man. They can go a couple of different ways. And if the 49ers can't get it done against the Rams, I think that's what we really look back on, that 1-5 division record, and go, man, if they could have just been 500 in the division, we're talking about competing for the division title. They've played outstanding outside of the division. You're talking about 2 losses outside of your division if they lose tomorrow, or 3 losses, whatever it is. And it's just, you got to take care of business inside of your division. And they lost twice to a terrible Seattle team. I mean, Seattle's likely going 6-11. Yep. Because Arizona has to try to play for the division. Arizona's good, but you lost one time with Colt McCoy starting. No DeAndre Hopkins, no Kyler Murray, and you lose that game. No J.J. Watt, and you lose that game. And you lose that game badly. It's not acceptable. And I think that I do honestly think that plays the part in perhaps not starting Trey, because those ugly losses are going to be on Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not going to be on Trey Lance. So,
And yeah, which is what cracks me up too, because it's like, and trust me, I'm not going to get into this much because it's been
no,
all week nonstop. But the
it's
whole
pointless at this point. Like there are people out there that are like, the people that are like, oh, Kyle Shanahan he just doesn't think Trey is ready. I don't think that's the case. It's just a tough spot to put it in. And we're talking about this the last week. It's the same shit every week. So we definitely don't need to dive too much into it. Just the decision itself seems to be a little puzzling, given what I know about those type of injuries. It seems to me like it's really truly going to be a game time decision. Jimmy looks fine throwing the ball, but there's also how's he going to feel when he hands the ball off? How's he going to feel when he takes the snap? Because don't forget that it's his right hand, which means that's the hand that's going to take the impact of the ball.
Yeah.
So
it's true. Fairfield podcast is in our show earlier. Christian was saying putting K1 on Cup. What do you think? I mean, he's known for playing in the slot. He's a nickel corner. I could see them doing it. I would be fine with it. K1's really good at what he does.
If he's lined up in the slot, if he's lined up outside, don't put K1 outside.
Right. Yeah. Not going to follow him, definitely.
No.
But he does play primarily out of the slot. Dick Tracy, Jimmy wins 75% of the games he starts. That's like that Anchorman quote, 60% of the time it works.
Yeah, it works 60% of the time, every time. Yeah. Okay. He wins 75% of the games he starts. Now take 2019 and 2017 out of it, and how many, because that's not the percentage this year, Yeah. That's not the percentage this year. Yeah. He's this year as a starter, Jimmy Garoppolo is 8-6.
Yeah.
That's like 58%.
A little above average, yeah.
Right.
How
it has looked bad in some of the losses.
He's looked bad in some of the wins, to be honest, but
right.
It is what it is.
Right.
At this point.
And on top of that, now, you take that, okay, fine, 75%. But does 75% Jimmy win 75%? Because that's what we're talking about. This is not a fully healthy Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't care if he starts or not. He's not fully healthy. When they're talking about that he probably needs surgery after the season, he's not healthy going into this game.
Yeah. I don't know why. I kind of get the sense that there's some misdirect happening with the Niners and who's starting.
It could very well be that Trey starts for sure.
Yeah. I get this weird feeling. I don't know. Kyle was extremely coy about it when he was being asked in the season, or not in the season, in the last press conference. He was like, I know what we're doing, but I'm not going to tell you guys. And I'm so glad that after today, it's done with. I'll never have to do this again. I think after today, we should be good moving forward.
Which, by the way, is very telling that Jimmy Garoppolo won't be here next season.
Yeah.
Because then he'd have to do it all over again.
Yeah. So. What did you make of Trey Lance still getting a press conference to end the week? We saw Jimmy kind of start the week with a press conference. Do you make anything of that?
I think that just adds into the gamesmanship. So.
Right. Yeah. Dick Tracy says nobody's healthy.
He's Jimmy Stan, I can tell.
Yeah. Nobody's healthy at this point of the season. Yeah.
Trey Lance has 2 interceptions in 2 games. And Houston dropped like 1 interception. I don't know where you get 3 from. That batted down line at the pass was never getting intercepted, dude. But at the same time, you're talking about a rookie versus an 8-year pro. Because I can throw out stats too. Jimmy Garoppolo dropping an interception right in Bobby Wagner's lap. Jimmy Garoppolo not seeing Budda Baker again.
Throwing it right.
Jimmy Garoppolo on the first pass of the second half, completely overthrowing a wobbling duck to Deebo Samuel that gets picked off.
Yep.
Oh, same game. Jimmy Garoppolo, red zone interception. So we can play this game.
Yeah.
It's an easy game to play. But you're talking about an 8-year pro versus a rookie who's like not gotten the bulk of the first team snaps, not been as huge a part of the game plan. You're talking about a dude that's been running scout team offense that started 3 games in 2 years because of COVID and because he's a rookie sitting behind a vet. So that doesn't play with me. You can take that shit somewhere else. Like, I get it. Like, if you're a fan of Jimmy Garoppolo, that's fine, but it's not an apples to apples comparison, and it's not fair to do that to the rookie because by all accounts, I mean, Trey Lance has 5 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions. In terms of rookie quarterbacks, he has the best, turnover differential in terms of percentage. So his TD to INT ratio is the best. So we could do that too if you want. Like Trevor Lawrence leads the league in interceptions. Doesn't make him a bum. That's just the nature of being a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, and yeah, the main thing is you can't compare them same, 1-to-1 because that's just really not the situation here. And
Right.
we've said it all season. I want to
They're
ask
not
you
even the
this
same
though.
player. You don't even game plan them the same.
No, and I
Which, by
asked
the way,
this.
as an aside, I just want to say, if we're looking at Trey Lance starting next year and you want a decent backup for Trey Lance that could play a similar style, I wouldn't be mad if they went out and got Drew Lock. I watched him play today, and he's not terrible. I think that Vic Fangio is not the best for him. I'm not saying he's a starter, but he's mobile. He can do some of the things that Trey does. So maybe that's something to look at. But that's just an aside.
I like it. I asked this earlier in the chat. So, humor me for a minute. If Trey Lance gets the start tomorrow,
Yeah.
plays well, and the Niners win, they get into the playoffs, and then that first wild card game, Jimmy Garoppolo, 100% ready to start. If you were Kyle Shanahan, do you roll with, and using Jim Harbaugh's words here, the hot hand, or do you go back to Jimmy Garoppolo, who was only not playing because he was injured?
No, I go Trey Lance. If Trey Lance starts and he wins and he looks like good, that just proves that he's ready to play in a pressure spot. And everything beyond that is just gravy. That means you definitely know that Jimmy's gone and you're rolling with Trey the next year. So like, even if you get beat in the playoffs, like who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at this point, a Super Bowl run is not realistic for this team. We talked about this before. There's just too many good NFC teams that match up. And maybe, defensively, they're not as good as the 49ers, but every single other team in this NFC playoff, with the exception of Philadelphia, is going to have a much more dynamic offense than what the 49ers can trot out there with Jimmy Garoppolo. So, if Trey wins, like you got to go with the hot hand. At that point, it's not about Jimmy Garoppolo being the starter and maybe he comes back. No, it's about Trey Lance has earned the right to get that playoff game because he won 2 must-win games in a row, and it's his time.
I agree with you. 100%. I think he owes it to Trey. Not only that, but to the offense too. We've seen, and I thought it was hilarious. Kyle Shanahan speaking with Greg Papa, and he goes, "Hey, look, Jimmy gets a lot of flack unfairly for not being able to throw a deep ball, and that's just 100% untrue. Jimmy's got as big of an arm
Yeah,
as
he said I
anybody
could
I've ever
throw.
seen.
He throws it as far as anybody I've seen.
Yeah,
But
he just
Kyle
doesn't do it.
Shanahan is talking about Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball deep, not throwing the deep ball. There's two different things. Because maybe Jimmy Garoppolo can launch it down the field, but it's slow. It's got a high arc, and it's probably not going to be accurate. So overall distance doesn't really mean anything. And I think that's just Kyle not wanting to dunk on Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say is that it's funny because it's like he might be able to get it there, but it's going to be 4 or 5 yards left or right, straight into a safety's, breadbasket. So, and regardless if he can do it, he doesn't. Whatever reason, whether it's mental, whether it's he doesn't feel like he could safely get the ball there accurately, he doesn't do it. We rarely see it.
No.
The one time I can think of off the top of my head is that Chicago game where it was rumored reportedly right before Kyle pulled him aside and said, "This is simple shit, Jimmy. Can you do it or not?" And then we see him bomb the ball down the field to a Deebo Samuel, which was a fantastic throw. Not taking anything away from Jimmy.
But I mean, there was a throw in the Super Bowl to George Kittle that was fantastic that you see later on the game. And Kittle was more covered than Emmanuel Sanders was, and Jimmy just missed him. Like Jimmy missed Kyle Juszczyk by a country mile. But we saw multiple times in the game that Trey started where he hits the touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel, which is outside the numbers and deep from the opposite hash, which is just a beautiful throw. Yeah. And then we saw the end zone throw to Brandon Ayuk Brandon might catch that if the DB's not holding his left arm. He still almost made an incredible one-handed catch, and that ball was dropped in a bucket. That was the perfect spot for that ball.
Yeah.
So, it's a tale of two quarterbacks, and you're looking at Trey Lance. The immense physical tools are there. You're just worried about processing and decision-making, which is what you're worried about with every rookie quarterback.
We have the Adam Schefter tweet as we are recording. Per Adam Schefter, there is a strong lean that the 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who is listed as questionable due to a torn ligament in his right thumb, will start, per source.
So, yeah, I'm not surprised. But like I said, be ready for that halftime option select if they're not scoring.
Yeah.
I think Kyle usually has a long leash for Jimmy Garoppolo, but this gives him an out.
Yeah, I agree. So this is the stat that I was talking about earlier. Grant Cohn, he loves stirring the pot. Hate him or love him. He tweeted out earlier, Jimmy Garoppolo has twice has started games after not being a full participant in practice that week. In those games, Miami 2020, Indy 2021, he lost twice, threw 4 picks, and posted a passer rating of 39.8. We all know he did not have a full week of practice. He split first-team reps with Trey Lance. Make of that what you will. That's just kind of how it lays out. The previous 2 times this has happened, it did not go well for Jimmy or the 49ers. So I agree with you, Matt. I think he will, if he does get the nod. It's going to be a short leash.
It's so weird because it's not like, I mean, listen, Baker Mayfield, not a great quarterback, right? But we saw how much that the labrum tear to his non-throwing shoulder affected him. And you're talking about a ligament injury to his throwing hand. 2 weeks injury to his throwing hand. Such an odd thing to me. And you're talking about he's probably going to need surgery, which means it's not going to spontaneously reattach itself or heal. That's just not the way that this works. And even if it was, you're talking about a ligament tear. That's weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. He is not 100%. And it's so weird. They might intend to start him, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
AHM Tar, 49ers win, Saints win, the Eagles lose tonight. How do Eagles clinch a playoff spot? Because in a head-to-head, they lose to the 49ers. But because the 49ers, Saints, and Eagles are not common opponents because the 49ers didn't play the Saints, in a 3-way tie, its conference schedule is the tiebreaker, and the 49ers lose that because of their poor record in the division.
Yep. It really came back to bite them. I mean, they're currently 1-4 in the division. At best, they could be 2-4. At worst, 1-5. That's not a playoff record right there. You got to win in your division.
And again, you're talking 8-3 outside of the division.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a really great out of division record. The division games have really come back to bite them in the ass.
It's true. It's unfortunate. Ian Sharp says Jimmy is so unpredictable. You never know which version will show up. Yep, that's true.
Unfortunately.
Small Shefty bomb. Yeah, it's what everybody kind of was already leaning to. And it is a strong lean. I don't think I've ever heard that verbiage used as far as who's going to play.
It tells me that they need Jimmy to go out there and warm up with the team and take some snaps.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be, and it's so funny because even Jimmy himself was setting up that option select where he's just like, he was so quick to offer up, oh man, it feels like the webbing of my hand gets torn every time. And I'm just like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I've never heard a player so quick to offer up, oh man, this really, really, really hurts. Usually it's like, I mean, it's not comfortable, but I'm good to go. But he made it sound like it was just an agonizing thing. It's so weird. It feels like he's setting up an excuse for himself.
Yeah. Did you see when Grant Cohn asked him how it felt? He goes, it fucking hurts. It hurts a lot. Like, whoa, dude. I mean, I forget who tweeted it out, but somebody tweeted out, live shot of what actually happened to Jimmy's thumb. And it was the Departed where he's getting his thumb broken by, I forget his name.
Isn't it funny that this is the second time that we have a noted Jimmy F-bomb drop in a press conference, and this one is not nearly on the same level as the first one when he was talking about how good, who was it, Sherfield or Sanu? I think it was Sanu, how good Sanu looked.
Yeah.
That one was like, oh, this is optimistic. This is fiery Jimmy. He's ready to go out there and play. This one is like, ouch, my poor thumb, Jimmy. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It's a funny, and then you hear the things of like his former Patriots teammate talking about how Jimmy goes into business for himself and he's not like tough. I don't know, man. Like, it's a double-edged sword because I feel like he's tough enough to go out and play, but self-absorbed enough to tell you how much he's hurting while he's doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has to be like, look at me, look what I'm doing.
Yeah. It really is weird in the sense that it's like, you've said it, I think, perfectly in that he's kind of setting it up that if it doesn't go well, he already has his out that, well, look, hey, I wasn't even supposed to play. I'm weeks ahead of schedule.
They both have the out.
Yeah. Kyle too. Exactly. So it really is unfortunate that that's where we're at.
Right.
Maybe he's, thinking of what he can sell to teams once he doesn't once he's released or traded next season. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know. I just think it's pretty funny that like even Trey said that his thumb was hurting. I mean, Trey is going to play the good soldier, though. Trey's a rookie. No way Trey would be like, why is Jimmy being such a bitch right now? Like, that's not something that's going to happen. But I think it's interesting that, the thing that they drafted Trey for was the fact that they said that Jimmy couldn't stay healthy. And here he is yet again dealing with multiple injuries in the season. So you can try to spin things the way that you want, but I don't think that his value is going to be helped at all because of the injuries. Everybody's going to look back and be like, dude, he's always injured. No matter what, he's always injured. But I do think that it sets up the option to kind of save a little face, right? Because if Jimmy comes out and plays like crap, hey, he tried, he gave it a go. He's a warrior. He gutted it out, right? And then even if they're down by a bunch and Trey comes in and Trey can't lead them back to the victory, pressure's off of Trey because, man, they were down. Trey had to come in, impossible task. How is he supposed to do that? So it kind of sets up to be like this blameless scenario if it doesn't go down. And I fully expect that if Jimmy struggles, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate because it's like, I would love for somebody in this organization to take some damn ownership, specifically Kyle Shanahan, the face of this regime. You brought in John Lynch. You agreed at the very least to trading for Jimmy. You stood on the table probably for Trey Lance, knowing how you have such a control on everything. I would love for you to come out, make a decision, stick with it. If it goes right, yes, I would love to praise you. If it goes wrong, I would love to see you up there saying, look, I thought this was best for our team. Turns out I was wrong. I would have a lot more respect than whatever this.
There's been a weird lack of accountability this year with the team that hasn't been there before, and I don't necessarily like it. We're going to have to see where this really goes. So his thumb is going to hurt more once he gets hit and hitting the ground and getting the ball once he hikes it. Yeah, but, they're going to give him that AB shot, that illegal AB shot that probably didn't exist. So we won't talk about that, but that story is so bizarre. Like, everything that's come out is super weird.
It really is crazy.
Instagram or toilet liquors in hotel rooms. I don't know, man.
And then the fake, I don't know, it looked fake to me. Screenshots with Bruce Arians that he released.
Those look super fake. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. But then, I don't know. Dang. The way he talks about Brady, I'm just like, dude, that dude was your biggest proponent. And you're kind of just saying, like, he can't do shit without you.
And then he goes, if I'm such a big part, how come I'm getting paid such a little amount? Getting paid the league minimum. It's like, bro, do you think Tom decides how much to pay you? Do you? Well, come on.
Well, on top of that, he had a guaranteed contract with the Raiders and still flipped out.
Yeah.
So that doesn't hold water for me. But I thought Forever Faithful was talking about the Calvin Ridley rumor. All I know is that the actual rumor is that both the Falcons and Calvin Ridley probably want to get a fresh start. So they'll either try to trade him or they might outright release him. I don't know if it's specifically from the Niners, but that would be somebody that the 49ers would probably be interested in on some level. But I don't think that Calvin Ridley is necessarily a need. I'd like to see them get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and use the Jimmy Garoppolo money and the extra money that's going to come from the raised salary cap and shore up that secondary. You need to bolster this unit, this team around Trey. And I think that you have a good thing going with your skill positions. I mean, there's only so many, passes that can go around, right? And you have Brandon Ayuk to feed, and you have Deebo Samuel to feed, and you have George Kittle to feed, and you have Elijah Mitchell in the backfield, right? That's a lot of playmakers. That's most of them what other people have. You don't need anything super special. I think you can go after like a tier 2 wide receiver, somebody who's like a nice number 3 or like an established slot receiver rather than a high-end guy like Calvin Ridley who's probably going to command some money, and go after some corners, and shore up that part. Shore up the interior of that offensive line. They have a decision to make with players like Mike McGlinchey. What do you do with him? There's a lot of moving parts, and I don't think adding a third wide receiver is necessarily like the most important thing right now.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. There's way too many pressing. By the way, I saw people on Twitter talking about, if the 49ers are happy with Ambry Thomas, Deommodore Lenoir, maybe they draft a pass rusher in the first round, or not in the first round, but with their first pick next year. Can we stop with the early pass rusher wants and needs? They do not need another pass rusher at the top of their list. We see exactly what them neglecting the secondary has done.
Mean, how many first rounders do they have? Wasn't Arden Key a first rounder?
Yep.
Okay, so he's a first rounder. Maybe Eddie Cam was a second rounder. But you have Javon Kinlaw, you have Eric Armstead, you have Nick Bosa, all first rounders.
Technically, D Ford.
D Ford was a second rounder, I think.
Oh, was he? Okay, my bad.
I think. But even by that token, even if you're talking about second round guys, because I think Samson Ebicam was like a second or third round guy. Mm-hmm. Who are your top corners? Oft injured Jason Verrett, who probably will. You can sign him for cheap, I guess, but you never know if he's going to stay healthy. He was a first rounder, but then you have third round Ambry Thomas, fifth round Diamador Lenore, undrafted Emmanuel Mosley. Like, dude, you got to shore. Corner is a much more. They've dumped so many resources into the defensive line, and the defensive line is getting sacked.
Yeah.
If you shore up that secondary, then the strategy that teams have been using against the 49ers to negate the pass rush, mainly quick passes and, things like that, are less effective. And teams can't run it as much. And therefore, you start – Nick Bosa, career high. He's got 15 sacks. Arden Key, career high in sacks. Eric Armstead's not getting sacks, but he's been really good against the run since they moved him to the inside. You got Ebicam, who's playing well. DJ Jones, when he's healthy, is a run stuffer. Like, defensive line is fine. That's a strength. The corners are a weakness. Dude, you have to shore up the defensive backfield. That's just – you have to. And then I'd like to see him, other than that defensive guy, I'd like to see him bring back Al-Shaair, but also shore up, maybe sign a depth piece or two for the linebacking core. Then your defense is set. This is a top 10 defense in the NFL. Yep. And that's with this suspect corner position. You get some good corners back there, you're looking at a top 3 defense.
I agree. I 100%. I think that's their biggest need, and it has been for a while. For some reason, the 49ers are just like 2019 version of the defense. Like, they just keep trying to hammer it, and it's like, it worked once, but it didn't even really work because how did you lose the Super Bowl? With a 3rd and 18 or whatever the hell it was. Emmanuel Mosley bit on it, got burned, and he wasn't in position. And they still neglected corners. Yes, they drafted Ambry Thomas. Yes, they drafted Diamador Lenore. But outside of a few games this year, they haven't really developed them. And they still need higher talent pieces.
Thomas has been getting better. Let's say that. Thomas has been getting a lot better. Yeah. And I think he would continue to get better. But they can shore that up. And for as good as we think Mosley is, let's be real. Mosley's like a cornerback 2 or 3 on any other team in the league.
Yeah.
Besides like the Jaguars and the Jets, who just absolutely any other playoff team in the league, he's like cornerback 2 or 3. Yeah. And that's no knock against Mosley, who was an undrafted guy, but he's not that top flight number 1 corner. Even on this team, when Jason Verrett was healthy, Emmanuel Mosley's number 2.
No.
So,
Matt Hunkfat, do you think the Saints win tomorrow?
I think the Falcons win tomorrow. The last 7 weeks, the Saints have averaged 10 points a game. It's been pathetic. They've been real bad. They were 5-2 before Jameis Winston got hurt, and they've been 4 and 5 since then. So not a good team.
Yeah.
The Falcons are 7-9. They're not great either, but Matt Ryan played his best game of the season in New Orleans last time. This time they're in Atlanta. I think it's a close game, but I think the Falcons can just score in too many ways.
Yeah, the Saints are currently favored by 3.5, but I have zero faith in Taysom Hill to go out there and play like a quarterback, let alone with all this on the line. I don't think they can get it done. I'm hoping they just bail my 49ers out and just take the L, let the Falcons with, they're a capable team at times. Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts is back.
The defense is the problem in Atlanta. The defense gives up too many points.
Right, 100%. My only concern is the Saints' defense has been legit, like one of the best they've had in a few seasons. So that does worry me a bit. But still, I think with Taysom Hill under center.
Yeah. It's still the 2021 NFL. good offense beats good defense.
Right.
There's just too many opportunities for the offense to score. And I don't know.
Yeah. Joey says, I'm looking at Jalen, I don't know how to, Patir from Baylor. If we have safety questions next season, which they could.
They could. I think they bring back Ward and Tart for another season. I think they prove they've done enough. You have Hufanga, who you can develop. You get. I mean, for as mediocre as he is, the depth is pretty good when you get Tarvarius Moore back next year.
Yeah.
So maybe. I mean, who knows?
I think Ward is more likely to be brought back than Tart. I think the way that they've kind of used Hufanga alongside Tart might give me a little hint on how they feel going forward next season. But I would like for them to bring back Tart because I think Tart is clearly still the better player. And I know that doesn't say much because Hufanga is the rookie, but I think even going into next season, I would prefer to have Tart than Hufanga. And that's not taking anything away from Hufanga. He was never supposed to be that starting safety caliber type player. It was always instinct. It was always natural ability on the field. But
yeah, you can teach him coverage is his weakness. Coverage is going to be his weakness. Yeah. He's like a run stuffing thumper. Like you want him crashing the box and stuffing the run, and he can hit. So those are the guys that you bring in for like big nickel or something like that, right? Like that's where you're going to play him, and that's where he's going to excel. But yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be the top flight safety. But I mean, who really, like, even Jamal Adams is terrible in coverage. So, the position that he plays, I think Tart is a good enough player, and he's shown enough. He's shown me a lot. I didn't think that he'd be able to bounce back as well as he has. And he's had some mistakes. He had that that bite in coverage when against the Titans when Tannehill looked him away with his eyes on that big third down play. But overall, I think that Tart has acquitted himself well coming back from that turf toe injury. So if the price is right, then definitely bring him back because he's only gonna be 30. So he still has some years left, especially if that turf toe isn't bothering him. Bring him back.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, him and Ward are like their chemistry is outstanding.
Yeah, it really is. I forget who I was listening to. I want to say it was Haberman and Middlecoff the other day, and they were talking. Oh, you know what? It might have been K1 or Tart, but they were saying I think it was K1 actually. But they were saying how D'Amico Ryans has began to use K1, especially with that nickel blitz. It's essentially what the Seahawks traded all those picks away for in a Jamal Adams, and the 49ers are getting here for basically pennies on the dollar with K1 Williams. And it really is impressive.
They paid Jamal Adams too on top of those draft picks. And Jamal Adams a good point. Sucks.
Yeah.
On top of being terrible in coverage, he's injury prone.
Yeah.
Like honestly, that is such a big W from the Jets to get rid of him for what they did.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it because it's one of those even a broken clock's right twice a day situations.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge difference. And I'm telling you, Seattle looked at, the Jalen Ramsey situation in LA and was like, we're going to do something.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a Jalen Ramsey who's like a lockdown corner and in the box safety who's terrible in coverage. It's so funny to me.
Looking back, and I know this is a bit of a sidetrack, Nike 9 or 10, we'll get to your question right now, but I gotta love how none of the big acquisitions for the Seahawks have panned out for them. And I think that's kind of the difference that we've seen between them and the Rams on that all-in mentality when it does work, or at least appears to be working, versus when it doesn't. Going all the way back to Percy Harvin. I mean, the Rams the Seahawks made some splash moves, and I can't think of one that really worked for them.
Schneider and Carroll are terrible in the draft. Yeah. Terrible. For as much as we give Lynch and Shanahan shit for their draft picks, Schneider and Carroll are horrendous. What is that? Is that berry Gatorade right there? It looks like berry. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
and that's the difference. The Rams will find people in the draft that they can actually. Cam Akers, a second round guy. I know they had Gerald Everett for a little bit. Is he still there? I don't know if he is. He might be.
I think.
But they're they're finding guys. Cooper Kupp was a third round guy.
Yeah.
They're finding these guys and they can draft for value. Something that the 49ers also do well, and that's why you're seeing them kind of at least with the 49ers, this is another winning season when your quarterback's relatively healthy, as it were. They find spot. I mean, Ambry Thomas, who everybody was on the Diamador Lenore train. I liked Ambry Thomas coming out of college. He struggled. I was like, dang, man, he's making me look bad for like hyping him up. And then you see the pedigree. He didn't play in 2020, and now you see him finally catching up and starting to get a little bit better, and they're using him in situations. That's why the Seahawks are bad. And by the way, there's every bit of possibility that Carroll and Russell Wilson are gone.
Yep.
And now you're talking about a 2-15 Seattle team. They will be dog shit.
Yeah, so, I agree. Gerald Everett, funny enough, is actually a Seattle Seahawk now. I just looked that up, but
that was one that didn't work out for them then.
I was going to say though, and I think you've brought it up, Matt. As soon as a couple of recruiting cycles came and went with Pete Carroll in the NFL,
Carroll had no idea who was in college.
The drafts went down so quickly. All right, sorry for that sidetrack, guys. What do you think about this question, Matt, from Nike 9 or 10? Where do you believe the 49ers offense ranks versus other NFC playoff teams? And I have the list here, so you don't have to get it. I know you're on your phone. So obviously there's the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, and the Eagles.
Like I said, other than the Eagles, I think the 49ers have the worst offense. I think they're close to being on par with Dallas, in that Dallas is also a very inconsistent offense at times. I know they laid a whooping on the Eagles, but the Eagles had like half their team was on COVID.
Yeah.
And I think they're only the third most misfortunate NFC East team. But I saw the story today where the Giants' salary cap is so bad they can't even field the full 53 this week. Like, how does that even happen? But in terms of defenses, I think if we're being completely honest, the 49ers probably have the best overall defense in the NFC. The Packers still give up points. I mean, they gave up 27 to this 49ers team. So I know the Eagles have a really good defense, but like in terms of sheer, I think the 49ers are right there as a top 10 defense. So they're like right there amongst it. The problem is that if you get into a shootout, and like I said, in 2021, the game kind of favors offenses and it's a war of attrition, like they held Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl to however much for, a certain amount of time. He just was able to overcome that at the end. If you get into a shootout and you got Jimmy Garoppolo at less than 100%, what can you do?
I agree.
What can you do? That's where the problem comes in.
I think looking at the teams in the playoffs right now, I think they could basically keep up with most of these teams. The biggest question, obviously, is it Jimmy or Trey? Let's say Jimmy at his best, right? The way they run the ball, the way they set up the pass with the play action, I actually like the way that they're able to get a spark going when things are going well. With that, I know that's a huge caveat, but it seems like every team has that. I think they can keep up with the Cowboys, the Rams, the Packers, the Cardinals. They can definitely keep up with the Eagles. The Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals and the Bucks are the two teams that worry me the most.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I think they match up well with everybody else.
The quarterback specifically with Tom Brady, you always got to worry about Tom Brady. Even without
and they turned Tom Brady down, so he's going to be pissed. And I don't like it when legends hold grudges. That's never a good thing.
Pharaoh Faithful says, if we want to get in as of now, it's the Bucks. But personally, who do you want to see first in the playoffs?
The Cowboys.
You would want the Cowboys? Yeah.
Cowboys are a playoff straight up choke.
McCarthy
Cowboys
in January.
Are shit in the playoffs. They've been shit in the playoffs.
I would take the the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's the other one. It's so hard to win 3 times against the same opponent.
Not only that, but Cliff and Kyler, they just melt down for whatever it is after November. They just can't seem to hold it together. And I know it's a bit of a cliche at this point, but cliches are kind of there because they're true. And there's a lot of history there that shows.
The Kingsbury factor is real for sure.
Yeah. Ian Sharp says Tart comes back because he's cheap. Still gets injured too much. Most likely.
Yeah.
Okay, good. every time I try to watch the show, you guys spend the whole show talking bad about Jimmy Garoppolo. You guys should try and talk about something different one of these times. This is
I
hilarious
mean,
because we
listen,
haven't
dude,
talked about Jimmy in a half hour.
yeah, that's one thing. And second, I mean, it's the biggest topic. Well, go find a show right now, today, about the 49ers game tomorrow, where they're not talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. You can't do it. That's just it's just pertinent topics, and we want to stay relevant and up to date.
Yeah. It's almost like it's the big storyline going into the final game of the season where the playoffs are on the line and the starting quarterback.
And you have a less than healthy starting quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a crazy thing to talk about. Maybe we're just a little out there. I don't know. Ian Sharp says Adams' contract was a mistake. 100%.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
That's too much money. And on top of that, the draft capital that they sunk into that is so crazy.
Yep. Nike 9 out of 10. Tampa lost a few weapons, but had Brady. Yeah. Yep. Even without Godwin, even without AB.
Dude, AB said that he said name a better receiver, and I was like Mike Evans, who's been 1,000-yard receiver every single season he's been in the league.
Every season. I'd take Chris Godwin over him. I mean, Chris Godwin is extremely solid. Dallas.
Dude, someone on Twitter was like, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without AB. I was like, all of his 5 catches for 22 yards in the Super Bowl, and he was like, AB helped get them there in the playoffs, genius. And then somebody else piped in and he was like, actually, AB didn't play in any of the playoff games. He came back for the Super Bowl. And the dude was like, oops. And his Twitter avatar was a clown. And I was like, dude, that's so fitting.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious. It's like people just don't even know what they're talking about. It's insane. Yeah, I agree with you. 99 or 10 Dallas wide receivers worry me as well. They did lose Michael Gallup. So if the 49ers have to face them, that's at least one gone. But they have an embarrassment of riches.
Lamb and Amari Cooper are pretty sick.
Yep. And Tavon, is it Wilson?
Tavon Wilson?
He's been playing well for them as well. So number one.
Whoever that number one guy is, I was at a restaurant getting dinner with my wife, and every time I looked up, he seemed like he was getting catches.
Yeah. He had some good ones. Joey says we need a win, a Seattle win, and Tampa Bay win in order to play the Cowboys. So it's possible, I guess.
It's possible. I think Tampa's actually going to play their guys because they're going for
the number one, right?
Number one spot, right? If Green Bay loses and Tampa wins, then Tampa gets it.
Yeah.
So, yep. Yeah, I mean, and on it,
the Packers are playing.
Green Bay has a number one spot.
Oh,
maybe they're seeding with the Cowboys.
Okay.
But they probably want number 2 just in case. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is going to play like 10 minutes tomorrow.
Yeah, they're playing Detroit, so I mean, they're not stressed about that.
Yeah,
and the Bucks are playing Carolina. So.
Did you see? By the way, this is like inside baseball gambling stuff, which we can get to MyBookie at some point. But did you see that the Bills are favored over the Jaguars by 16.5?
Holy shit! No, I did not.
Bro, that's a huge line, bro.
16.5?
16.5, yeah. So
I don't know.
Anyway, going back to the guy, and we don't want to call anybody names, so let's not call anybody a show.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see this comment before I clicked it.
But was it Jay Good 49? We'll try to do better. Appreciate the feedback. It's just it's a relevant topic. You know, we try not to badmouth anybody. I don't think Jimmy's a terrible quarterback. I think he's above average. I think the circumstances right now are just that. You know, you're trying to keep up with the Rams team. So,
to be fair, I don't think anything we said tonight was bad mouthing Jimmy Garoppolo.
No.
We were talking about why he can get the win, why he is the logical choice.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a sensitive subject for some fans for whatever reason.
And that's fine. I get it. Yeah. 3 losses against the Niners will cripple the Lambs. But this is why if we beat the Rams, I don't want to play the Rams again.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to beat the same team in back-to-back weeks. That's so exceedingly difficult. I mean, even in the NBA, when teams do like home and homes, it's so hard to win 2 in a row.
Yeah. It is. It really is. Tampa Bay needs to win and a Rams loss to get to number 2.
Okay, so I mean, everybody's playing for seeding. The NFC is such that the only team that's not really playing is Green Bay and Philadelphia, who didn't play anybody tonight because they're set. I think they're 6th if the 49ers lose and the Saints get in. They're 7 in any other scenario.
Yeah. So the 49ers
So
would be
I mean,
6.
they already know. They already know that they're stuck playing one of the best teams,
Green
whoever it
Bay.
is. So yeah, no, they won't play Green Bay.
Oh, that's right. They get the bye.
It'll
Sorry.
be Tampa or the Rams who they
Yeah.
play, which is like not a picnic for them.
Not at all.
Right.
All right. Let's get into these MyBookie props. Did you have a chance to look one up? You want me to send you the link?
I
know you're on your phone, so I could pick.
Yeah, it's tough for me, but I do know that MyBookie has a lot of these prop bets, and a lot of them are very similar.
Yeah.
There was one that I almost used last week that I'm going to use this week, and I think this is going to be a back and forth battle. But one of the funnest prop bets I think they put up is yes or no, either team scores 3 times in a row.
Ooh.
And so I'm going to say no. I think this is going to be too much of a slugfest for that, but it's a fun one. Like some of these games, you think like there's nothing like the Buffalo Jaguars game, right? That would be a good game to take. I bet you Buffalo scores 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So there's fun props to be had all the way around. What do you got for me, Zach?
Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. Bear with me, guys. Let me swap this here. All right. So right now, guys, go over to MyBookie.ag, sign up with promo code Hive. You'll get your first deposit instantly matched all the way up to $1,000. This is going on through the Super Bowl. So take advantage while you can. Last regular season, great chance to win some money. In the Falcons game, I won $140. In the Titans game, I won $180. I forgot to place my bet last week. Oh, no. I did place my bet last week. And Brandon Ayuk was 6 yards shy of getting me $180 again. He finished with 94 yards instead of 100 yards. It is what it is. Niners got the dub. I'm not too concerned. The one that I like the most, though, I think is 49ers win the first half by 4 to 6 points, which, as you can see, is plus 1,100 right now. That's a fantastic odds. I like that a lot. I think they could easily go into halftime up a touchdown. Or excuse me, not a touchdown.
They're a good first half team for sure.
Yeah. So I would go there definitely more than the second half because they cannot seem to score, unfortunately, in the second half. At least they can't with historically the season with Jimmy. Last week they were able to score some in the second half. But if Jimmy starts, I like the way they come out hot. I would say 4 to 6, and that's plus 1,100. Even if you feel like they're going to be up, say a touchdown to a field goal, 7 to 9 is plus 1,000, and 10 to 12 is 1,400. So regardless, you're going to make some good money, I would imagine. So again, guys, MyBookie.ag, promo code Hive. Get your first deposit instantly matched all the way up to $1,000. You deposit $150, you'll match you $150. You suddenly have $300 to bet. You could do the math. I don't have to lay it out for you. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie. Shout out to MyBookie for sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys go and take advantage of it. Like I said, now through the Super Bowl, MyBookie.ag, promo code Hive. Matt, let's get into our predictions and our final overall prediction. You guys know how it goes. Drop your offensive and defensive MVP predictions in the chat. Drop your final score predictions in the chat. If you get any of them right, we'll send you some free merch.
Yeah. Offensive MVP, I got Elijah Mitchell. I think 25 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown.
Okay. I like that. Man, this is tough. It's hard to not go with Elijah Mitchell, to be honest.
That's why I stole him first, because if they can get ball control like that, they can win.
I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel, and I think he's going to have about 85 yards receiving with another 45 rushing, and I'm going to say 2 total touchdowns. He seems to just go off against the Rams, whatever it is, whether it was the disrespect from Aaron Donald
100%
last
it was the
season.
Disrespect from Aaron Donald.
By the way,
did you see his press conference where he gave props to Deebo Samuel this time?
No, what did he say?
Yeah, he was like, who's that? No, just kidding, man. He's all over the field, this and that, giving him props and stuff. So he's not gonna make the same mistake twice. He definitely knows who Deebo is now.
Yeah, it's such a stupid thing to say as a player when you're going against somebody you see twice a year. You've seen already twice a year since you've entered the NFL, since he's entered the NFL, and he's one of the best. I mean,
yeah.
even before the season, Deebo Samuel was extremely well known in the NFL. It was just addicting to say, to be honest. Excuse my language.
It was. It was. By the way, to be honest, if MyBookie.AG wants to pay attention, you know what a good prop bet would be? Over under on Aaron Donald doing something fucking stupid again. Slamming his helmet or getting a stupid penalty. He seems to melt down against the 49ers for some odd reason. It's happened multiple times.
I agree. It is funny to watch, but hey, man, if you get under his skin, it seems like he just kind of loses it. Let's see some of these predictions. I hope they run the damn ball a lot. I'm saying Kittle has a game tomorrow. Nothing but Niners. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go, baby. Yeah. Offensive MVP will be Samuel. Defensive will be Ward. I like that. I like that.
By the way, Mike, hit me up, dude, if you're going to be at the game tomorrow. And that goes for anybody. If anybody sees me at the game, come up and say hi, dude.
Yep.
I'm more than happy to hang out with whoever. So some of the guys like, Mike and stuff, they're going to be at the game. I know Croc's going to be at the game. I'm looking forward to getting to see some of you guys again. That'll be cool. But yeah, anybody that recognize me, come on up.
Nothing but Niners. So they didn't even get the name right. They asked about Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel. That's funny.
That is funny. All right, defensive. I already know you, but tradition, I got to ask.
Nick Bosa, 3 sacks and a forced fumble.
All right. I love it, man.
And by the way, let's throw in an interception in there just because.
Damn, all right.
Yeah.
He's going at ball
Nick
out.
Bosa, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and a pick.
All right.
He's got to get in that conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, even though it's probably going to be TJ Watt.
Yeah. Man, that would be a nice prop bet there on MyBookie. I'm sure that's like plus 9,000 or something crazy.
Plus,
like
yeah, plus 10,000 on that shit.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to go with, before I give that my pick, just a quick reminder. Remember when Mike White for the Jets went off for the one start he had, and then the next game, it was like a Thursday night game? I bet that he would have 250 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, would have at least 25 completions, and the fucker got hurt in the first quarter. I'm like, oh my, it was plus 4,000 or something crazy. I think $100. I'm like, he's going to do it. Nah.
Nope. Just kidding.
For me, my defensive MVP, I'm going to say Emmanuel Mosley. I think he comes right back off IR, has a pick, and he just completely takes, I don't want to say takes Cooper Kupp out, but he helps the 49ers a lot when Cooper Kupp is not lined up in the slot. And I think he's going to be a huge X factor for the Niners tomorrow on defense. Man, this is a huge game. I don't remember being this nervous for a game, probably since the Super Bowl, if we're being honest, but
it's a big one. It's definitely the most important game they've had this year. It's nut cutting time. And yeah, since the Super Bowl, this one's got me amped up. I'm and especially because I'm going to watch it in person. So
yeah. What jersey are you rocking?
I'm rocking the Trey Lance.
I knew the ultra authentic one.
Yeah.
Nice. Don't let anybody spill any mustard on that one.
Who knows how the Rams fans are.
You gotta
we'll
send some pictures of the stadium. Hopefully it's
it's
red.
gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. So.
Did you see them trying to get ahead of it, making sure they told people to wear blue and stuff like that? It's like, oh man, it's gonna be
because they know a ton of 49er fans are traveling to this.
Yep. All right, guys. Final.
By the way, speaking of tickets, did you see the thing where the New York Giants have secondary tickets on sale for $9?
What?
Yep.
Wow. No, I did not see that.
$9, $9.80 for 300 level seats, not even 400 levels, 300 level seats.
Wow. All right. Final score. I mean, I understand why, but
yeah, they're trash.
It's crazy. Yeah. You're paying more in parking.
There's talks that they're going to get rid of Saquon Barkley.
That's what happens when you draft Daniel Jones and hire Joe Judge. I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect, guys? Final score predictions, Matt. The last regular season game of the year. Hopefully it's not the last game of the year for the Niners. What do you got?
Man, I don't know. I'm so torn. Sometimes I feel like if I predict them to win, they lose, and vice versa. And sometimes I just want to be a homer. I think I'm going to cop out today. I think I'm going to cop out. 27-27 tie. 49ers get in on a tie.
All right.
I don't know. Honestly, no. That's terrible. That's terrible. I'm going to say, man. 24-23, 49ers.
Damn. Okay.
Last second field goal by Robbie Gould.
This is really tough. I don't think it's going to be as comfortable of a win that it was last week.
Oh, it's not going to be a 3-touchdown win. That's for sure.
Or the time before that, if I remember correctly, I think the 49ers might have a 10-point lead at some point, but I don't think they're going to be up 10, with comfort in the final minutes of the fourth quarter. I see like a 27-23 win Niners, but I feel like we're going to get a little extra insurance, and I don't think the Saints, knock on wood, are going to pull it off against the Falcons. They couldn't get the job done at home earlier in the year, and now they're on the road in Atlanta trying to get the job done. I don't think they can do it.
I got the Falcons 31-20.
Damn. All right. I'm not going to give a score prediction there because I jinxed too many things. I've already put that in motion for the Niners, knocked on some wood. We're going to end it on that. Like I said, guys, drop your final score predictions in the comments. You can tweet them at us in the morning. You could drop them in the comments of the video. However you get them to us, get them to us. If you get it right, we'll send you some 49ers Hive merch. Only one person has actually gotten it right since we've been doing this for 2 years now. So you could be the second person to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you going to be able to do a show tomorrow, or do you want me to? I know we didn't really.
Yeah, it'll just be late. I'm headed straight home after the game. It'll take me probably about 3 hours after the game, so we can go at like 8.
Okay, so come back tomorrow evening, guys. We'll be live, good or bad, to break it all down. Hopefully it's a win. Hopefully we're here popping champagne and celebrating a playoff berth.
Yeah, get ready for wildcard weekend. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you as always for joining us. Thanks for putting up with my cell phone video. I hope it wasn't too bad for you guys. Thanks for putting up with my Jimmy slander, apparently. We'll deal with that in the future. We love having you guys here. And like I said, if you guys see me at the game, please come up and say hi. I'd love to meet every single one of you. So with that being said, thank you as always for joining us. Let's go tomorrow, get a dub. Let's get a playoff victory. That being said, till next time, go Niners.